All right. As I was saying, their greatest danger is in the transition. I mean, they have some very athletic players, some quality in the attack. Um, yeah, obviously guys that can finish. So for me, the first half starts where I feel like we're just incredibly impatient with the ball. We're trying to force attacks through the middle of the field. It's very hard to control transitions when you lose the ball in the middle of the field because they can go left, they can go right. And yeah, I felt like that set the kind of the tone for the game. Is we're trying to get guys into good attacking positions, but sometimes our impatience to allow the play to develop, to play the game not through the middle of the field, but more on the flanks at times. Force the guys on their team who kind of cheat a little bit and wait for transition moments, force them to have to defend and or take advantage of the spaces that they leave when they don't defend. And I felt like we were incredibly impatient. That set a tempo in the first half where our attacks were fast, not that they were rushed fast. And then we were trying to get to good positions, and then guys who were trying to get to good positions are now racing back to have to defend. And there was just really lacked balance, and we never set up anything that looked like a collective attack, and really didn't force their guys who, like I said, who are very good in the transition to have to commit to the defensive side of the game. I thought what changed in the second half is I felt like we found a little bit more patience. We weren't trying to play straight through the middle as much. We were working, to get from side to side better. We were getting more guys involved in the attack. We got ourselves into it. Back into the game. Obviously, the goal right at the end of the half was really good for us, just to come into the locker room feeling a little bit closer. And we got it. We felt like we were there, and we had the momentum to get ourselves back in the game. But every time we kind of felt like the momentum was there, we would concede a goal. We didn't deal with some transitions well. We didn't box defend well at times. Some of their guys that are athletic and fast, and we've got to be more confident in how we can defend them. We've got to organize our marking a little bit clearer and earlier. And we conceded 4 goals, which is far too many and impossible to win. When you give up 4 goals, and we gave up goals in, like I said, mainly in transitions and then crossing situations where we're not taking account for guys that are in the box.
Is that, whenever you look at the 4 goals, obviously that sort of sticks out, but is that a focus for you on the defensive side? Is it the midfield not coming back to help whenever they need to help? 4 goals is a lot for this team to give up.
Well, I think it just depends on the scenario, right? I think if we lose balls in bad places, then then I think sometimes if they have one guy in the box or 2 guys in the box, then I think our back line needs to be able to deal with those situations. If they're getting 3-4 guys in the box, then for sure our midfielders need to help those situations. So I think it just depends on the numbers and who and how the situation develops as to whether where I felt like we were having some midfield challenge was more later in the game when Marco came in. Because he was really committed to high positions, and Ricky was more getting into higher positions or picking up the ball and then moving into high positions, and Gaston became a little bit on an island in some of these defensive moments. And that's when I really felt like we started chasing that equalizing goal. I felt like we started to really concede some of the middle of the field. There were other moments here or there, but I didn't necessarily feel like that was a consistent issue. I may change my mind when I come back and watch it, but I definitely felt like that became an issue as the game progressed and we started to extend ourselves a little bit more.
Thanks, Greg.
The one caveat to that is the transition moment when I believe it's the Evander's goal where we do force the ball wide. We're 1-on-1 and Gaston leaves the middle to go help. And the guy he leaves to go help our guy is the guy that actually finishes. And probably in a better scenario or a better situation, he stays, and we've got to defend 1-on-1, and we cover John a little bit differently. But that's probably one scenario where we left the middle and we probably needed to be in the middle. There might be others, but that's one I can think of on top of my head.
Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Greg. Thank you once again for your time. Just wanted to ask, obviously you guys had a couple of days ago had an emotional victory. Today, obviously the loss. What's kind of the sense within the locker room, I guess, just Did this game kind of feel like a reality check for you guys? I know it might be premature to say that, but just curious to know.
I don't know if it's a reality check. I think everybody understands the challenges of this league and competing on the road, and us. We created our own. I mean, they're a good team. Don't give them, but we create our problems with how we lose the ball. We create our problems in rushing and forcing attacks and things that need to be allowed. We need to allow ourselves to develop. We did such a good job of that the other night, specifically in the second half. And we were able to take what is arguably one of the best transition teams in the league and really eliminate the transition. And it's because we took care of the ball, and it's because we gave our guys behind the ball chances to get tight to the players that they need to mark. We did those things, and tonight, for sure, through the first half of the game, and some stretches down in the second half when we were chasing the game, the impatience is really sometimes our biggest enemy, and that's ourselves undoing ourselves, and then we sometimes we look back and we wonder where the guys are and why they're not closer and more aggressive, and the reality is they're shell shocked a little bit, and now they're conceding a little bit of territory. So again, we have to make sure that we are mindful of these situations, or else we start to lose trust in our positioning. We start to get a little bit cautious in our counter press defending. We start to concede territory. Now good transition teams are really running at you, and I don't know that I don't ever feel like our group. Look, at the end of the game the other day when it's 4-2 or whatever, and we're playing around, I feel like there was some arrogance in that moment. I don't feel like we came into the night with arrogance. I don't think that was it at all. I think we got exposed for the mistakes that we made in the course of the game, and we didn't clean them up. And we have to recognize this again as we come to the end of the season and we go to the playoffs, because it's these things that we hurt ourselves with more than, and opposition obviously takes advantage of them, but we expose ourselves and then the opposition hurts us, is what I should say probably.
Thank you, Greg. Safe travels back.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Sophie.
Hey, Greg. Is tonight the perfect example of just how important having home field advantage is?
Absolutely. I mean, I said it the other night at the end of the game to the group. It's that game was, you always want to play that game at home. In this league, you want to play at home because the conditions here, you come here, you play on turf. It's a little slower. It's a little different. It's, all around our league, there's so many different types of conditions you deal with. Could be altitude, could be others, right? Turf, could be others in the Western Conference. Like, it is so important for us to be mindful of these last now 4 games to put ourselves in a position to be playing at home. Like that, there's nothing else that we're playing for right now down the stretch, is to make sure that we play as many of these games at home in the playoffs as we possibly can. Tonight is a great example of why. The other night was a great example of why, and the other way. And so, it's absolutely the point.
Thanks, Greg. Safe travels.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll wrap with Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Greg. Just wondering if you could get a quick injury update on Julian and Martin. And then, first place for a while now in the West. Obviously, everybody shoots to try to take down number 1. Is the group feeling any pressure right now as we come to the end of the season? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if the group feels pressure. I don't see that and sense the pressure, because part of that is I think we've got what appears to be, and I think it could be a false sense of separation from ourselves in the group. But the reality is, because of games in hand and different things, we don't have a great separation because you can't take anything for granted. But the gap just closed a bit. I don't know all of the results out there, but I'm sure the gap just closed a bit on us, and so now it's a lot tighter. I don't sense arrogance or nervousness. I sense that a few guys didn't have great games for various reasons. Like I said, and collectively, I feel like we rush the game in the wrong moments and put ourselves in tough situations. And sometimes I think we rush the game when we feel like we have to go win the game early or right away, or we start to really push the game. I see it. Yeah, at times when we just have to be more mindful of it, because we expose ourselves, and that's not something we want to be. But this thing is tight. Last 4 games are going to be big. We play 2 at home and 2 away, and we're playing for the West and we're playing for home field advantage, and we got to get guys healthy, turned around. I think you asked about players. Julian, assuming that he continues through the course of the week doing the things he wants, he'll be in training tomorrow with the guys who are training. He trained the other day. He should be available to be a part of the game this weekend. He won't be ready to start or anything like that, but he should be available to possibly get some minutes. But he's certainly got some training sessions under his belt now, which is a positive thing, and he feels a lot better. Martin will be out. As far as everyone else, we'll take inventory on how guys are doing coming off the turf and everything else, and then start to look towards the weekend.
Thanks for your time, Greg.
All right.